All right, welcome. We're diving deep into the science of tablet coating. Now, this is designed for folks in both industry and academia. So whether you're working in a lab or studying in a lecture hall, you're in the right place. In this first part, we're really going to build that foundational knowledge, the bedrock you need to really master this super critical pharmaceutical process. Okay, here's a quick look at our game plan for today. We'll kick things off with the basic concept and purpose of coating, then we'll get into the why behind it. After that, we'll look at the three main coating methods and then start a tour of the materials, focusing first on the all-important film-forming polymers. Let's get started. So let's jump right in with section 1. We're going to establish exactly what we mean by tablet coating. It might sound straightforward, but the technical definition is really specific. So what's the key takeaway here? It's that we are not messing with the core of the tablet. The drug, the dose, all of that stays exactly the same. What we're doing is applying this thin, uniform layer of a special formulation right on top. Think of it like painting a car. You're not changing the engine, you're just changing the outside to protect it and make it look good, or in our case, to change how it performs. Okay, we know what coating is. Now for the big question, why do we do it? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of why this process is so absolutely essential in pharma. And trust me, it's about way more than just aesthetics. So picture this. You've got your active pharmaceutical ingredient, your API, right? A lot of these compounds are, well, they're divas. They're super sensitive. They can get broken down by light, by oxygen, even by a little bit of humidity. So the problem is, how on earth do you protect them? And the solution is the coat. It acts like a little suit of armor for the API. It's both a physical and a chemical barrier. So you're shielding the drug from things like light and moisture, which keeps it chemically stable, but you're also protecting it from getting banged around and chipped during handling and transport. It's absolutely critical for any drug that's hygroscopic, photosensitive, or prone to oxidation. All right, next big problem. Let's be real, some drugs taste absolutely terrible. We're talking bitter, metallic, just plain nasty. And if a patient can't stand the taste, they're not going to take the medicine. Patient compliance is king, so how do we fix this? The answer is just beautifully simple. You put a coat on it. This creates a physical barrier between those bitter drug particles and the patient's taste buds. It's such a simple idea, but it's a total game changer for the patient experience. And you can imagine this is especially important when you're talking about kids or the elderly, where taste can make or break whether they take their medication at all. Okay, so we've covered taste, but what about the other physical challenges, like actually swallowing the pill? And just as important, making sure you're taking the right pill. This is where the coating really pulls double duty. First, swallowability. A smooth, glossy coating just makes the tablet slide down so much more easily. It's a huge boost to patient acceptability. Second, identification. By giving a tablet a specific color, shape, or even printing a logo on it, you make it instantly recognizable. This is massive for preventing medication errors. And of course, from a business perspective, it creates a distinct brand identity. Okay, get ready, because now we're shifting gears. We're moving beyond just protection and aesthetics into something truly functional. This is where coating goes from being a simple layer to a sophisticated piece of drug delivery technology that can control exactly where and when a drug gets released in the body. So how does this work? It's all about choosing the right polymer to create a smart coating. For example, with an enteric coating, you can design it to completely ignore the harsh, acidic environment of the stomach, and then, poof, it dissolves exactly where you want it to in the intestines. Or you can create a sustained release coat that acts like a tiny, controlled release reservoir, slowly letting the drug out over hours and hours. All right, that covers the why. Now let's get into the how. We're going to look at the three main ways these coatings are actually applied to the tablets. This table lays it all out beautifully. Just look at the differences. The most glaring one? Weight gain. With sugar coating, you could be adding a whopping 30 to 50% to the tablet's weight. Compare that to film coating, which is usually only 2 to 8%. And then look at the process. Sugar coating is this multi-step, labor-intensive art, while film coating is automated and super efficient. It's no wonder that film coating is now the dominant method in the industry. It just makes more sense. And if you really want to understand why film coating became so popular, you have to look at what it replaced. The traditional sugar coating process, it's practically an art form. You've got sealing, then subcoating to round the edges, smoothing, coloring, polishing. Each step is a whole process in itself and requires a ton of skill and time. It produces a beautiful result for sure, but in modern, high-speed manufacturing, it's just not practical.
Okay, time to look inside the formulator's toolbox. What are the actual ingredients that go into a coating suspension? Let's break down the recipe for creating that perfect functional film. So, every coating formulation is built from these core components. You've got the film-forming polymer, that's the star player, the main structure. Then you need a plasticizer to make that film flexible so it doesn't crack. Of course, you have colorants and opacifiers for appearance. A solvent or vehicle is needed to carry everything and apply it evenly. And then you have a bunch of auxiliary agents, like anti-tacking agents, to make sure everything runs smoothly. It's all about the balance. Now, out of all those ingredients we just saw, one stands above the rest: the film-forming polymer. This is the heart and soul of the coating. It's the ingredient that really dictates what the coating is going to do. So let's focus in and classify the main types. First up are the immediate release polymers. Now, we sometimes call these non-functional, which sounds a bit odd, but all it means is that their main job isn't to control the drug release. Their purpose is to get out of the way, fast. They dissolve quickly in water, usually right in the stomach. Think of your cellulose derivatives like HPMC or vinyl polymers like PVA. These are the absolute workhorses for your standard, everyday tablet coatings. Next, we have the enteric polymers, and this is where things get really clever. These polymers are pH sensitive. They're designed to be completely insoluble in the low pH of the stomach. They just won't dissolve. But once that tablet passes into the higher pH of the small intestine, that's the trigger. The polymer rapidly dissolves and releases the drug. It's perfect for protecting the drug from stomach acid or for protecting the stomach from an irritating drug. And last but not least, we have the sustained or controlled release polymers. The whole point of these is that they don't dissolve easily. Instead, polymers like ethyl cellulose form an insoluble but permeable film. It's kind of like a membrane. The drug inside dissolves in gut fluids and then slowly diffuses out through this film at a very controlled, predictable rate. This is how you get those once-a-day extended release formulations. So, there you have it. We've met the star of the show, the film-forming polymer. But even the biggest star needs a great supporting cast. A polymer on its own can't create that perfect, flawless coat. It needs help. So that brings up some important questions, right? What stops that film from getting brittle and cracking? How do we get the color just right? What exactly are the plasticizers and solvents doing? Well, that's exactly what we're going to cover in part 2. We'll dive into the entire supporting cast: plasticizers, colorants, solvents, and all the rest. I'll see you there.